Alright, Jalen Brunson took 31 shots in Game 1 of the NBA Finals. 31! He missed 19 of them, and his team still won, on the road. So here's the question that should bother you. How does a man shoot that badly, that many times, and walk off a hero? Because there's a fine line between a ball hog and a closer, and Brunson spent all night dancing on it. He fired and fired and fired again on a night his shot wasn't falling, and somehow it added up to the most stubborn, willful 30-point performance you will ever see. So let's break down a stat line that should not have worked. This is Game is Culture. Real quick before we get into it, if you like breakdowns that actually show the math instead of just yelling takes at you, go hit subscribe. It's free and it genuinely helps, so click it. First, the rare air, because 31 shots is a lot. We searched every finals game ever played for players who scored 30 or more points on 30 or more field goal attempts. And it's a short, exclusive list. The kind of volume that only the most fearless number one options ever reach. Names like Stephen Curry, Devin Booker, and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. And now, Jalen Brunson. But here is the brutal twist. Look at what the rest of that club did with all those shots. Curry exploded for 47, Booker 40, Middleton 40, Shai 38. They turned massive volume into massive scoring. And Brunson, he turned 31 shots into exactly 30 points. The lowest output of anyone who ever shot this much in a finals. So Brunson didn't join this club by being explosive. He joined it by being relentless. Everyone else got there on a night the ball was flying in. Brunson got there on a night it wasn't, and simply refused to stop shooting until the number said 30. That's not the same achievement. It might be a stranger, more stubborn one. So just how rough was the efficiency? Rough. Brunson shot under 39% from the floor. In his playoff career, his number is closer to 46. So this was well below his own standard on the biggest stage. He was missing more than he made all night long, and he kept his hand up for the next one anyway. And the shot diet shows you how hard those points were. 9 of his shots were threes, and only 2 fell. The rest, a steady diet of contested, self-created two-pointers. He barely got to the free throw line, so there were no easy points here. Just a man manufacturing offense the hardest possible way, over and over. And every one of those shots was created off the dribble against a set defense with the entire Spurs game plan keyed on stopping him. He had no screens springing him open, no transition layups, just isolation after isolation after isolation, 31 times. That is a staggering physical and mental workload in a finals game. So why does an inefficient 30 still win a championship game? Because somebody has to be willing to fail in public. In a rock fight where both teams are bricking, the worst thing a star can do is get passive and defer. Brunson did the opposite. He absorbed every hard possession, took the misses on his own shoulders, and kept the scoreboard moving. So his volume wasn't selfishness. It was a shield for everyone else. Think about what that workload bought. It kept the defense glued to him, which freed up Towns and Anunoby and Shamet to play easy. It kept New York's offense from going stagnant, and it ate clock and pressure on the road in a hostile building. So the ugly 30 did 3 quiet, beautiful things at once. Real quick though, if you've made it this far, you've really gotta hit subscribe. I'm not going to beg, but I am going to ask. So hit it, and I'll wait. Now compare his night to the rest of that club, because the contrast is everything. When Stephen Curry fired 31 shots in the finals, he detonated for 47 points. When Devin Booker took 33, he poured in 40. These weren't grinders, they were volcanoes erupting. The 30-plus shot finals game is supposed to be the signature of an offensive explosion. A player who simply could not be stopped, scoring at will.
Brunson's version was the opposite.
He took the same enormous volume and the ball just would not cooperate. So instead of an eruption, you got a war of attrition. A man missing and refusing to flinch until the math finally crept to 30. It's the least glamorous way anyone has ever joined this club. And in a weird way, that makes it more impressive, not less. Because think about the courage it takes. You're 0 for 4. You're 4 for 13. The whole arena is watching you miss on the biggest stage in the sport. Most players would shrink, defer, and hide. Brunson called for the ball again. That willingness to keep shooting through public failure is the exact trait that separates a closer from everyone too scared to be one. And this is exactly who Jalen Brunson is. He is a volume closer who rises in the playoffs. Some nights, that means a gorgeous, efficient 40. Other nights, like this one, it means a grinding, stubborn 30-on-30 one-shots that refuses to lose. And the truth is, his greatness lives in his willingness to take that second kind of night. Most stars hide from it. He runs toward it. And there's a reason New York trusts him to do it. Because a 6'2" guard who can manufacture 30 points on a bad shooting night in the finals on the road is the single most valuable thing a playoff team can own. A bucket when there are no buckets to be found. That's a championship skill. So when the dust settled, the line read 30 points next to a road win. Not pretty, not efficient, but 31 shots of pure, unbothered belief that ended with his team up 1 in the series. And in the finals, belief like that is worth more than a clean box score. But let's be honest about the warning. Because 30 points on 31 shots with 4 turnovers is not a sustainable formula. If the Spurs tighten the screws and force him into that exact same volume again, those 19 misses might not be survivable a second time. The same willful shooting that won Game 1 could just as easily lose Game 4. So this was a victory built on a knife's edge. And the cleanest path forward isn't fewer shots, it's better ones. If even a few of those contested jumpers become free throws, or a couple of those misses start dropping, the volume stops looking stubborn and starts looking unstoppable. Brunson doesn't need to shoot less. He needs the same fearlessness with a little more luck. So I'm going to leave it with you. Is a 30-point, 31-shot road win a sign of an unbreakable superstar, or the kind of inefficient volume that eventually catches up to a team in a long series? So tell me down in the comments, and if you enjoyed this video, please be sure to subscribe. We're in a race to 1,000 subscribers, so please join the family.